regular Board of Education meeting. I hope everyone is having a great summer so far. Welcome back. It's been a few weeks since we've been seated here, but welcome back, everyone. We're joined tonight by the Central Office leadership team, the best in the business as far as I'm concerned. Before we get into the meat of our meeting tonight, I'll ask that you all rise and join me at the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Well, thank you so much, and that brings us to our roll call. I'll hand it over to our secretary, Ms. Stewart, please.
All right, President Wilson.
I'm here.
Vice President McIntyre.
I'm here.
Treasurer Campbell-Voitel.
I am also here.
Trustee Mazurek.
Here.
Trustee Meyer can't be here, and Trustee Prescott can't be here, and Secretary Stewart here.
Excellent. Thank you so much. That brings us to the adoption of our agenda, number 4. I'll hand it over to our Vice President, Ms. McIntyre, please.
Okay, this is always odd. I'd like to bring motion 1 that the agenda be adopted as presented.
Support. Interesting.
So I have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Dr. Campbell-Voitel. We've all had a chance to look at the agenda. Any questions, discussion? Looks good to me. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, our agenda passes. Thank you. That brings us to number 5, our consent resolutions. Again, I'll hand it over to our Vice President, please.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 2 that the board accept the consent agenda items for approval as presented. This includes 5A, minutes of the June 25th, 2024 budget hearing of the Board of Education meeting. 5B, minutes of the June 25th, 2024 Board of Education meeting. 5C, overnight and or out-of-state field trip requests, which includes C1, NHS boys hockey team trip to Cleveland, Ohio from November 22nd to the 24th, 2024. C2, NHS JV cheerleading camp to Otisville, Michigan from July 20th to the 21st, 2024. C3, NHS cheer camp in Sandusky, Ohio from July 26th to 28th, 2024. C4, middle school cheer camp in Otisville, Michigan from July 20th to the 21st, 2024. C5, NHS boys JV and varsity hockey trip to Traverse City, Michigan from December 19th to the 21st of 2024. 5D, approval of 2024-25 New Hope memorandums of understanding with Meads Mill Middle School, Hillside Middle School, and Northville High School. 5E, bill warrants totaling $4,899,711.56. And we also have 5F, 2024-25 Wayne Westland Cooperative Agreement, 5G, CIS auction results, and that is it.
Excellent. All right. So we have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Ms. Stewart. For those in the audience tonight, these are consent resolutions, and as you heard, there are things like minutes from prior meetings, some great field trips that our students and athletes are going on or will be going on later this summer or next year. Other things that we've had a chance to vet and digest and think about and discuss in other meetings, and that is why we don't give them much discussion tonight. But with that said, any questions, discussion items?
So just one comment on there's an unusual item, CIS auction results, and it's just an issue. We sell old equipment, right? Because the dollar amount is over $20,000, it actually has to come for a board for approval. But we actually sold a bunch of old Toro snow blowers and trucks and some old buses and that. We generated roughly about $69,000 of value to the district. After we pay our commission on it, we'll have $62,000 or $63,000 going into our budget. So it's kind of an unusual item. We're not spending, we're getting money back, but because the item is large enough, we actually have to approve the official sale. So just explaining that one unique item.
Yep, good discussion, good points there. Anything else?
I just think to acknowledge the memorandum of understanding with New Hope to provide services to our middle schools and our high schools should there be a sudden tragedy experienced, and that they are in our building taking care of the grief and shock and trauma needs of our staff and our students. And this is a community partnership that we have established. I noticed that they subsidize the cost to the district somewhat. So, you know, it is quite a quite an excellent partnership that brings support and critical resources to our students and our staff. So
There's actually a New Hope event this Thursday and Friday at Mayberry for about 140 or 150 kids, grief support, family losses. Could be a mother, could be a father, could be a brother, sister, whatever that be, but they're having a 2-day kind of session for kids who are in the area. Many of them are Northville Township students that have experienced some grief in that. So just an example of something going on literally Thursday and Friday this week.
Yep. Just to add on to that, New Hope is one that's is an organization that's near and dear to many of our hearts, and I know I'll be volunteering at that camp Thursday and Friday. I believe
I will
saw
be
your
too.
name.
Yep.
So
I'm in the
Lisa will
orange
be.
group
Yep.
this year. I'm excited.
I'm the gray team, so we really appreciate New Hope and what they do. And did I hear right? Picking up the bill on
subsidizing it.
subsidizing it. Okay,
It's nominal cost to us to have their help.
excellent. Good points, all.
Well, the same thing is true also for the camp, right? That the kids do not have to pay to attend the
That's
camp,
right. Yep.
right? They get
Yeah.
to go.
Yeah.
It's an amazing experience. So many other community partners also, right? I've heard
Yeah.
Healing with Horses will be there. The Michigan Jags are bringing some of their coaches, and it's a really awesome event.
Eric Hipple,
Yeah,
Detroit
yeah.
Lions former quarterback.
Yep.
All right. Sound good to me? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, our consent resolution's passed. That brings us to our communications. Ms. Stewart, our secretary, please.
All right, we've received communications at our email, npsboe@northvilleschools.org, as well as the Wayne Risa board highlights for June 2024.
Excellent. Any questions?
No, just that actually was a really nice email. Thank you that came in this last week on the kids who were at the
The
What is that?
unified.
Yeah,
the
for
Unified
the
program. Yeah, for
Special
Northville was
Olympics.
representing the state of Michigan at the Unified organization. Was just really nice to kind of see the kids. It was a very beneficial event, and getting a thank you back was kind of nice.
Yeah, it is. And actually, there's some accolades coming to the district. Is there some designation as a district-wide unified?
As far as our unified program being recognized
Yeah.
on the national level for how amazing they are.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it is a wonderful thing.
I was really excited to see that the whole district is working to become a unified district, right?
Yes.
That'll also provide opportunities for elementary kids.
Mhm.
Really excited for that.
Bringing elementary. Yep.
Excellent. All right. Thank you for the report on communications. That brings us to number 7 on our agenda, our superintendent's report. Dr. Weber, take it away.
Thank you very much, President Wilson. I'm going to make this very brief because we have 9 people in this room that are beginning journeys with us, and I really want us to focus on them. Just a quick thank you to the township and the city last week. They recognized our baseball team, state champion baseball team, with a number of resolutions. Cindy Jankowski wrote a beautiful one from the township. Mayor Turnbull brought something, I believe, from the governor, and Matt Colazar also had one from the House. So that was really neat. But as I look at these names and as I went out and met a few people, I cannot wait to get to meet them even more. And we are who we hire and we are who we keep. And when I say that, I mean it in the most positive way, meaning that the lifeblood of this district, in any district, in my opinion, are the people who spend time and choose to spend time with our kids and do so in a way that's far more than a job, but a calling, frankly. And when I say we are who we hire and we hire who we keep, my belief is that our team needs to work as hard as we can to have this be a great place that each of you want to stay forever. And I sincerely mean that. And I know the people who are involved in the hiring process, from the folks I get to see and work with every day to the folks in the buildings. And I think we're all very excited to meet those of you in the room. So that will be it for my superintendent's report. We also have a closed session tonight, so I want to be mindful and cognizant of our time. So I'm going to truncate my report. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. I very much appreciate that. That brings us to number 8 on our agenda, our first of 2 opportunities for public comment. Public comment is very important, so we don't want to give that too much short attention, but we will say I don't have any green cards. Going once, going twice. That closes our period of public comment. There will be another one later this evening. That brings us to the highlight of the night. I'll turn it over to Ms. Stewart, please, for our new hires.
All right, I bring motion number 3, that the board award 1-year probation, oh my gosh.
Probationary.
Thank you. This is the first time I've had to read this one. NEA teacher contracts to the following staff for the 24-25 school year. Rebecca Buck, 1 FTE elementary STEAM. Kelsey Searbach, 1 FTE elementary. Cassie Dudsas, if I mess up your last name, I'm really sorry. 1 FTE Young Fives. Alyssa Golden, 1 FTE elementary. Paige McInnes, 1 FTE elementary. Sarah Smolinski, 1 FTE elementary. Nathan Vitale, 1 FTE elementary physical education. Michaela Wallace, 1 FTE elementary.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. Stewart and supported by Mr. Mazurik. Before we vote, let's have some introduction to these fine candidates. Mr. Sumner.
Indeed. Thank you,
All
Mr. President Wilson. So, yes, I'm excited to share a little bit about these eight new hires to the district that we are recommending for approval this evening. And I'll start by just asking each of you, as I read your name, if you could just stand up so that the board can get acquainted with you. And we'll start with Kelsey Searbach, elementary classroom teacher. Kelsey is a Michigan native. She graduated from the University of Florida with both her bachelor's and master's degree and completed her first year of teaching actually in the Sunshine State as a first grade teacher, and she came back to Michigan. Her master's degree is in fact in reading, and she was trained in UFly, which is a comprehensive literacy program created at the University of Florida that we use here in Northville. When I reached out to Kelsey's references, including her school administration, they indicated how sad they were to see her returning to Michigan, and went as far as saying that Kelsey has the it factor. Our interview team was pleased that Kelsey had elected to return to her home state here in Michigan, and we look forward to the strong literacy background, among other wonderful characteristics she can bring to Northville Public Schools. Kelsey Searbach.
Excellent.
Alyssa Golden. I saw Alyssa out there. There she is. Alyssa completed her first year of teaching in Ida Public Schools in a 4th grade classroom after graduating from the University of Michigan Flint. During her time at U of M Flint, she received 2 notable honors: the Maize and Blue Distinguished Scholar recipient, that is the highest academic recognition a student can reportedly receive, as well as the Emerging Leader Award for making a significant impact at U of M Flint. During her time at U of M Flint, she was also engaged in research and a number of community activities related to student inclusion. Her energy and enthusiasm resonated with our interview team. Her references universally commented on her innate ability to build meaningful relationships with her students, with one reference noting Alyssa's meaningful work with social emotional learning, all characteristics we value here in Northville. Alyssa Golden. Paige McInnes. Paige here. Paige did not make it, but I'm going to go ahead and read a little bit about Paige. A graduate of Grand Valley State University this past spring, Paige had the opportunity to fulfill her year-long student teaching in 2 different districts, a 1st grade classroom in Granville Public Schools there on the west side of the state, and then a little bit closer here to home, a 2nd grade classroom in Walled Lake Consolidated Schools. One of her cooperating teachers not only noted Paige's great relationships with students, but her work ethic and organization. The owner of the Goddard School, where Paige has worked parts of each of the last 3 years while completing her education, called her top notch, and someone he would have viewed as a potential program director for Goddard if she were to have remained there. High compliments indeed. Paige McInnes. Sarah Smolinski. I think I saw Sarah. There's Sarah. Sarah comes to us with a background that is unique to most teachers, having first completed her bachelor's at Grand Valley State University in secondary mathematics with a minor in physical education. However, she didn't stop there. Immediately following her completion of her bachelor's, she attended the University of Michigan to pursue her elementary education certification. Beyond her work in the college classroom, Sarah played soccer at Grand Valley State. Likely in part due to her experience of participating in collegiate athletics, Sarah presents as very calm, something that came out in her reference checks, including her ability to make strong connections with students. Sarah Smolinski. And then our last elementary recommendation this evening is Michaela Wallace. Michaela is also a University of Michigan graduate who has been teaching since April of 2022 in a Wayne Westland first grade classroom. Michaela has actually been working with the Summer Kids Club here in Northville each of the past 2 summers. In fact, Joanne Sawicki from our early childhood program is the individual that actually reached out and said, hey, you've got to give Michaela an interview. So we were really happy when she came out to meet with us, and she did not disappoint. Michaela is a tremendous communicator who is very passionate about education and reaching every student. Her references only reinforce these impressions, and in fact, her MTSS coordinator called her phenomenal and noted the work she not only did with climate and culture in her school building, but the important work she also did with her first grade team to improve student achievement in their Title I school building. Michaela Wallace. And then we have a Young Fives hire that we're recommending this evening, Cassie Dutzis. There's Cassie. Cassie taught this past year in a Taylor School District and comes to us with experience having taught in a Young Fives classroom, an experience that she raved about during her interview. A 2023 graduate of Eastern Michigan, Cassie described her passion for early education and discussed her growth during both her student teaching and her first year of teaching, particularly as it related to meeting the needs of the early learner. Cassie's background in working for Plymouth Canton's Kids Time program for 5 years further speaks to her passion for working with early learners. Cassie's references all offered similar observations, noting not only her strong connections with students, but the team player that she is. All characteristics that will be great additions to our new Young Fives team. Cassie. And then elementary physical education teacher, Nathan Batali. Nathan couldn't be with us this evening, but he graduated from Kent State University in December of 2022 after completing part of his student teaching in Costa Rica. Upon graduating, Nate spent the remainder of the 22-23 school year as a building substitute in Kent, Ohio, at Longcoy Elementary, and has since been a building sub this past year in Warren Consolidated Schools. When I reached out to the building principal at Longcoy Elementary there in Kent, Ohio, and explained the reason for my call, she didn't let me get another word in, and she just said, hire him, hire him. She then went on to explain how much Nate loved children and how much the children loved him, noting that in all her years at Longcoy Elementary, they had never thrown a going away party for a building sub or student teacher until Nate left. She shared that just to strike the impression that Nate is really a special individual. Not only did she discuss his enthusiasm that he brings to the classroom, but that's something that certainly came out in his interview as well. Our interview team was excited about Nate and the energy he can bring to physical education and most importantly to our students here in Northville. Nathan Vitale. And then last but certainly not least, recommending an elementary STEAM teacher, Rebecca Buck, who is back there with her little one. Rebecca Buck has spent the majority of her short career as a special educator in Novi Community Schools. However, after completing her master's in educational technology with Boise State University back in 2022, she secured a position with Oakland Schools as technology integration specialist, where she consults, coaches, and collaborates with teachers in curriculum and instruction design related to STEAM. While Rebecca has found this work with fellow educators to be rewarding, she has shared how much she misses daily interactions with students, and this position here in Northville offered the best of both worlds. Rebecca's references noted her leadership as well as her ability to meet students and their individual needs, particularly those she worked with as a special educator. Given Rebecca's unique background, our interview team felt she would be a perfect addition to the current team of STEAM teachers. Rebecca Buck. So on behalf of the Central Office Administrative Team, I recommend that the Board of Education approve a probationary contract for the following individuals for the 24-25 school year. Kelsey Serbach, Alyssa Golden, Paige McInnes, Sarah Smolinski, Michaela Wallace, Cassie Dutzis, Nathan Vitale, and Rebecca Buck.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that introduction. Questions, comments?
No, it's just nice to see. I mean, the last several years, I mean, a lot of people have, like I say, feigned from going into the educational business, right? It's been tough to get teachers. It's been a situation where people have kind of badmouthed them in that and really just a total misnomer in that. So it is so nice to see the number of new people we'll bring in the district who are enthused coming out of college or 1-2 years experience who could bring some new ideas into us. So it is just phenomenal to kind of see that. And normally we're crashing, school is starting, we're crashing the last weeks, still trying to get 1 or 2 people. I'm sure that's still going to happen, but it's good to see us pulling this forward and getting you on board. This is a great district. We're going to expect a lot out of you, but God, we look forward to having you.
Well, I guess my comment would be, among you in the audience are your principals and the people that are welcoming you by their being here and their very presence. So I think it's a statement about what kind of an environment we have in our district and what kind of climate and support awaits you as you continue developing your profession and in the buildings led by these leaders. So it's just a wonderful thing to have everybody here to welcome you.
I'm just thrilled that so many of you are also here with us tonight, that it's a really cool opportunity just to welcome you to the district, get to see your faces. But, as the school year starts, there's so much frenzy. So it's really wonderful to have each of you here tonight. Thanks for joining us.
No, I second that. I mean, this is really a great 8 candidates. I appreciate you bringing candidates that have energy, that it factor. They're phenomenal. I heard top notch. I think Ms. Dutzis, you're from the Taylor District. That's where I'm born and raised, and the product of the public schools there. So I'm super enthused to see that. Should we make this official and vote on these fine candidates and welcome him? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Welcome to Northville.
Welcome aboard.
I did want to say really quickly that this is one of Karen Meyer's favorite roles, is to be able to read these out. And the only reason she is not here is she got impacted by the Delta flight cancellations, and she is stuck in Colorado tonight, and she loves this part. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Oh, good call out. All right. We're on to number 10 here.
Number 10.
Back to you.
All right. I bring motion number 4, that the board award a 1-year NASA contract to Patrick Ignagne for Hillside Middle School Assistant Principal for the 24-25 school year.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented again by Ms. Stewart and supported by Dr. Campbell-Voitel. Looks like we're going to get some introduction here from Ms. Peck, please.
That's right.
Awesome.
It's going to be hard to top Brian and all of the great folks that he brought in. Certainly can't top, but I can certainly add to.
That's right.
We're recommending today a new assistant principal for Hillside Middle School. As you all know, our beloved Melissa Provo is moving over to principal at Meads Mill Middle School, leaving this opening. Patrick was one of many. We went through a full interview process. I know you enjoyed it, right? It looked like you did. So Patrick, he has he started his journey at Hillside College, got his undergraduate degree at Hillside College, his master's degree of art and teaching from Marygrove College, and then went on to earn his administrative credential through the MASSP Path to Leadership in 2022, which is a great program. All of those programs are wonderful programs. Since then and throughout that time, Mr. Ignagne has been a dean of students in a private school for a short period of time. Then he went on since 2002 to Plymouth Canton, where he's been a math and social studies teacher for 17 years teaching. He also has been leading professional development communities as an instructional coach He's done a lot of work with teachers, partnering with teachers and with the district to lead that work in Plymouth Canton. I brought today this is an application packet. This is an example of what we use when we're looking at applications. This is something our applicant fills out. This is the one that I used as I was interviewing Patrick and getting to be in his space with him. And I just want to read a few things that I jotted down. These are my words. Our children and our families have to see themselves in the curriculum. CEL connects to everything that we do. PBIS is part of our climate and culture. Must be enforced you said something that just caught my attention. I didn't jot it down because I was like, oh, that's exactly what PBIS is. You know, it's a celebration of students. And it's part of the core of our being in our middle school programming. Model how you treat how you treat people. Cognitive coaching, he's trained in this and he uses this and he was using it with us and I loved it. Restorative relational practices, you know, he was very quick to jump on. That's tier 1. That's everything. That's everything. If you can't reach them, you can't get in there and teach them. So he was very passionate about that. I just put a little side note to myself that Patrick would be a great fit for Northville and Hillside Middle School. And many of my colleagues agreed. Patrick rose to the top very quickly. He went through the process. He met our superintendent and he accepted that position. I talked to some people that I reached out to, but I also talked to a lot of people that reached out to me to tell me how great Patrick is and how much they're going to miss him. One person that I reached out to right away was our friend Abdul, who is over at Plymouth Canton right now. And when I called him and I said, so I met Patrick, and he said, oh, you are so lucky. He hasn't had an opportunity to work with you, but he's heard only wonderful things about you. So with all of that said, we're very excited, and I'm excited. And on behalf of the central office leadership team, I recommend the Board of Education approve a 1-year probationary Northville Association of School Administrators contract for Patrick Ignagne to serve as assistant principal at Hillside Middle School for the 24-25 school year.
All right.
Amazing, yeah.
Hillside's one of our favorite buildings. Many of us have kids there. I have a student there now, and I'm super excited to have you there, potentially pending this vote. We'll see. This could be a controversial one, but we'll see.
Trying to work him so
Yeah, that's right.
that kid goes into his office.
That's right. Yeah. Great building, though. I'm really happy to see somebody of your caliber, raise their hand to take on something like this. Any other comments?
No, I kept thinking those are big shoes to fill with Mrs. Provost. So it seems like it'll be, any transition has its moments, but it just seems like it could be very seamless. And the philosophy of that building and of our district really aligns with all the things that you mentioned. So
there's 3 parents here with kids in your building.
yeah, exactly. So do not pay attention to his name.
I know,
My son will be in that office at some
You will
point.
never see any of them in your office,
mine will
I
be there.
am sure.
Only for good reasons, I'm sure.
Yeah.
No,
All right.
it's very exciting.
No, I don't want to cut you off. Yeah.
Nope.
Ready? Everyone good? All right. So let's make it official. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Welcome aboard, Mr. Ignagne.
And please understand, it's not rude at all if you choose to leave after we're finished here with our next person as well. So we won't hold it against you.
All right. That said, we're all watching to see who leaves. And we'll move on to number 11, our bid awards. And I'll turn it over to our treasurer, Dr. Campbell-Voitel, please.
All right, let's see here. It is odd having the numbers reset, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let me see here. So I bring motion 5. Let's see, that the board award the following bond 2023 contracts. A, elementary iPad purchase from Apple through the REMC contract totaling $128,260. And B, Moraine switchgear replacement totaling $160,000 as presented.
Support.
All right. So I have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Voitel and supported by Ms. McIntyre. Any questions, discussion? Go for it.
Okay, so I'll say something about REMC. And Jim, I bet you want to say something about switch, what's it called? Switchgear
Main
replacement.
switchgear, yeah.
Okay. But we have made a large investment in upgrading our tech, and it's part of our bond, and it's part of our continuing commitment to having the most effective tools in, the hands of our students and teachers to support their learning. But REMC, I looked into REMC a little bit to understand, for those of you who are inevitably going to be listening to us on the YouTube, and maybe I'm talking to Karen, who will catch up with us on YouTube when she gets back in town. But REMC is a consortium of, it's a nonprofit. I'm going to let Mike save me if I get in over my neck here, but it's a consortium that helps coordinate through the ISDs, the intermediate school districts, the purchasing of technological equipment at the best possible price. So it bundles these kinds of purchases and then allows us to all benefit. Did I do a decent job of describing?
Basically what they try to do is leverage, obviously the technology needs of multiple school districts throughout Michigan. So
Yeah.
they're able to get, some very good pricing. So typically we try to get some of our hardware, most of our hardware through REMC to the extent we can.
Right. So it's just an effort on our part to be as most cost effective as we can while we're making these big purchases. But the other aspect about Switchplate, Jim, did you want to say something about?
No, just that we.
Switchgear.
So switchgear, yeah, no, we're doing major renovations. We went through this just in finance committee, and for people, I asked the question, what exactly is our definition of switchgear? And for the main public, it's kind of, think about in your basement, you have your power box, right, which is the interface between Edison's main line coming in your house, splitting all the power off from the various circuits and that. Marines an old building, right? It has been around a long time. It's not actually our oldest building, but it's around a long time. And as we're doing a renovation, it's time to put in or update that box. We've done business with Green Line before. They've done some other contracts, and they came in with a low bid by a significant amount of money. And so it's someone we know. They've had good business with us, proven themselves, and this actually sets us up. The work actually won't be till next year, but a lot of this equipment, you think that times have changed. We've gone through COVID, and you just buy stuff and it comes immediately. There's still a lot of equipment that is a long lead item, so we're actually purchasing it now, recognizing that it may take 6, 8, 9, 10 months before it even gets here for when the actual project is done.
Right.
All right, any questions on these two purchases? All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, those pass. Thank you for the work on that. That brings us to number 12 on our agenda, our roofing consultant potentially. I'll hand it over to Dr. Campbell-Boytel again.
Okay. So I am happy to bring motion 6, that the board award a contract to BTA for professional roofing consulting services totaling $37,170 funded through bond 2023 as presented.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Dr. Campbell-Boytel and supported by Ms. McIntyre. Any questions or introductions needed on this one?
Did we step on your presentations? You taught us so well at the finance subcommittee meeting.
Right, so since about 2018, starting with the 2017 bond, we did an RFP for roofing consulting services. BTA was successful in responding to that RFP. They successfully completed the work in the 2017 bond. We're retaining them on a year-by-year basis for work in the 2023 bond. So they're our partner that evaluates the roofs every couple of years, saying, hey, these ones should be the ones we're replacing, looking, that year or two forward. They also consult with us on problematic areas that maybe the whole roof doesn't need to be replaced, but we have a problematic leak that we want to address. So they're kind of more of a general fund partner when it comes to that. But this is a professional service contract for next summer's roofing projects. We're going to complete roofing at Ammerman. We did 2 sections this year, and then the rest of the sections are going to happen next year. And then at the high school, we're looking at the main gym. The auxiliary gym, the natatorium, the auditorium, the flat roofs on the south side of the athletic wing. So those are the flat roofs that are going to get replaced next year.
So actually, I just want to ask one minor question. It's not a technicality to make sure we're approving the right number. So the 37,170 is the incremental projects for 2025,
For the bond work.
right? Did we already approve for because the total project is 49,000, the 10,000 base fee and then 2,400? I just want to make sure that should we be saying the 49,000? Was that already approved, the base?
It's a professional contract because it was so small.
It was under, okay, I just wanted to make sure we had the right number.
We don't necessarily bring those contracts to the board for award.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure we were approving the entire piece. I didn't want to miss and have to come back later.
The other piece, the other scope of work in here is really our general fund.
Okay.
So.
And that's actually underneath our board amount.
Yeah, and the
Okay.
board approves that.
No problem. I just wanted to make sure that we wrote the right number down in the actual proposal.
I cleared out the room.
That's right, yeah.
We don't have a paving contract to
Right,
We don't have a
approve.
paving
Darn.
contract.
Sounds great.
Oh.
Thank you,
Thank
Steve.
you, Steve.
Yeah, no, thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, the motion passes. That brings us to number 13. Do we have any added agenda items? Anybody else? All right. That brings us to the second of two opportunities for public comment tonight. Ms. Mayberry? Mabry, I'm sorry. Yeah. All right. Public comment is over. That brings us to number 15, questions, comments from board members.
Right.
I'll make the first one. Today was the deadline for registering for a seat on the Northville School Board, among other things. I think it passed at 4 o'clock. I think Friday we'll know, or thereabouts, we'll know the finalists. I think folks have until then to pull their names or withdraw their names.
You have 2 days to change your mind.
Yeah.
For some reason, I thought it was tomorrow, but maybe it is today.
Yeah, it's today.
Today. But don't they, so they have until Friday to withdraw?
You know what? Don't take it from me then. Today was the
Double check the
registration.
website.
Double check on your own. Don't take it from me.
MASB has a lot of good information if you're curious.
That's right. Yeah. Any other questions, comments?
Since we have Mr. Banchero here, I was very excited to see driving down 8 Mile, the removal of all the old fences. It looks awesome so far, and I can only imagine it's going to continue to look better as all of that, the brush and the weeds are taken care of. And then I did have a question. I happen to live across the street from Moraine, and so I get to see a lot of the action going on over there. There's been so much heavy equipment. Is it the drainage project that was, yeah?
Yeah, so what they're currently wrapping up is actually a drainage improvement project we awarded in the fall.
Right.
So, yeah, it's a lot of heavy equipment. There's large underground retention chambers that were put in the back over there to help control the outflow of our
I saw
water
those
into the public.
sitting in the parking lot. It was
Correct.
pretty exciting.
Yeah, not all the neighbors were that excited about our
I'm sure.
process at Moraine, and, maybe that's a way we could think about in the future is improving communications when it is impacting our neighbors. But the majority of the project is wrapping up this week, with the weird weather rain patterns we have. Like, it doesn't just rain anymore, it rains, right? So that will put the project back a couple days, but they've been making good progress. As they back out, then there'll be a process where we'll bring landscapers and try to restore all that back. And it's going to take, frankly, a year or two of special attention to get it really back. I mean, we all know how hard it is to get grass to grow, especially when it's unirrigated. I mean, these are just fields, right? So we are going to be paying special attention back over there as far as fertilizing, aeration, overseeding, top dressing. So it's going to probably take, and unfortunately, Marine's going to have to be the brunt of that too, as we get that grass to grow.
Right.
But we are going to keep our eyes on it, that's for sure.
Right. I think a good, point, though, for the neighbors that maybe are being impacted right now with the construction, the constant impact of the poor drainage previous to this project was a huge headache for all of those neighbors. So this is going to be a huge improvement. going forward for all of the interesting rain that we keep having. So it's exciting to see the progress. So thank you.
All right, any other questions, comments? All right, well, that will bring us to number 16 on our agenda. That is our closed session. Vice President, please.
Okay, I'd like to bring forth motion 7 that the board convene in closed session pursuant to Public Act 267 MCL 15.268E to discuss pending litigation in the matter of Keebler versus Northville Public Schools et al.
Support.
All right, so we have a motion properly presented by Ms. McIntyre and supported by Dr. Campbell-Boytel. This will require a roll call vote. Ms. Stewart, please.
All right. Campbell-Boytel.
Yes.
McIntyre.
Yes.
Mazurek.
Yes.
Meyer is absent. Stewart, yes. Wilson.
Yes.
And Prescott is absent.
All right, that passes. We will go into closed session. Well, there's no one in the public, but just for the sake of posterity, we will be coming back to officially close the meeting and adjourn after some period of time. I don't know how long that will take, but it will. I'm nearly certain that whatever we come back with after our closed session will be purely process and no substance. That said, we'll move to closed session at 7:14. Good.
So why did we get this? This is just an FYI for us. That they're gonna brew spirits at the White Buffalo.